Please note that the content of this episode has explicit language and is not suitable for underage listeners. Hi, I'm CJ, and I've done phone sex for 23 years. Let's get started. I wanted to start with a reminder to go on YouTube, like and subscribe to my YouTube channel, hit the notification bell so you don't miss a podcast that drops every Monday. I've got a lot of downloads. I just need more likes and subscribers, so I would appreciate if you haven't done it, if you could do it, that'd be awesome. I haven't asked for it until the end of the podcast. It's always at the end, but I thought I'd try something different and put it in the beginning. So I appreciate all of you who are dedicated listeners. And if you are listening through YouTube, I would love that. It's been a weird week. Lots of wind, fire, power outages, and of course the election. And as usual, some very different types of calls. People always say that I must have heard everything. Well, I've heard a lot, but definitely not everything. And this week just proves that. Sometimes I do think about it and I'm like, yeah, I've heard pretty much everything. Nothing surprises me. And to be honest, nothing really does surprise me, but I know for a fact I have not heard everything. One of the first calls I received this week went something like this. I want to do a role play. Okay. So you're my stepdaughter and you catch me watching porn. Okay. But it's face swap porn. I thought about it for a second and I said to the caller, what's that? I had not heard of that before. He said, that's a porn where you can take somebody else's face and put it on the body of the person in the porn. So he wanted me, his stepdaughter, to walk in on him watching porn where his stepdaughter's face, me, was. So we played that out. But I found that to be interesting because I had not heard about it before. I know about guys fantasizing about all sorts of things. But to swap someone's face and put it on a porn, that's pretty creative. And I know we're in the age of technology where you can pretty much do anything. So if you in fact can do that, that's a little weird. But who am I to say? I don't say anything about it. We had our little rendezvous and he was happy and hung up. So I've said in some previous podcasts, and forgive me for those people who don't agree with me or find it gross, whatever the case may be, that men often want to secretly have an experience with another man. So here's an example of a phone call that starts out pretty regular. I don't want to use the word normal because what's normal? So it starts out where me and this guy get together and we fuck for quite a while. And his girlfriend's away and this is all very secretive and wonderful. And then his girlfriend comes home and catches us in bed. And he wants her after a little while to join in. And then a few of his friends come over and we all get into it together. But the twist of this is, well, it's not a twist because it happens quite often. But a twist is that the caller wants to get involved and lick and suck the guy's cocks with me. He says, I want you to lick it. I want you to suck it. I want to come over and lick it with you. That is one thing that never surprises me. Although when you talk to someone for a while and you hear their voice and intonation, some people you can tell it's going to turn that way. And some people you can't. In this case, I did not think so. So it's a surprise when it goes that way. But on the other hand, it's not really surprising and he loved that. And of course, that is what got him off. We could have been fucking all day long. His girlfriend could have been watching all day long, but what got him off was the act of sharing a big cock, and that's what he wanted. Whenever somebody asks me, and I've mentioned this before, about some common themes that run through my calls, this is one of them, where inevitably a man will say, they're my friends and they're coming over, or other men are coming over, or I want this or I want that, and it usually ends up where he wants to suck a dick or something like that. I've said, and I will continue to say over and over, it does not make you gay. It makes people want to have different types of experiences. That's my opinion. It's the same with women. There are some women who want to have an experience or two with another woman, but they really love men. They love cock. It doesn't even make you bi-curious. To live a life that's full, to have experiences and to just have fun, from what I am being told over the past 20-something years that I've been doing this. It's not from my experience. I've not had these experiences, but it's what I've been told, and I agree. There are experiences you want to have and just to test things out or just to know what it's like. Why not? If it's not hurting anyone, then why not do it? That's how I feel. If these guys want to talk about sucking cock and really want to and try it, why not? It hurts no one. As long as, if in this case, he has a partner and his partner knows about it. If he does it on the sly, that's kind of cheating, right? I mean, it is cheating, I think. And I don't judge. Look, everybody's going to do what they're going to do. And I hope that, I'm overanalyzing this, I know, but I hope that everybody is safe and does what they want and has a happy life. So that was that phone call. So like I said, it was election week and I had a couple of, I would call them political calls. So the first one was somebody who, again, started out with a regular phone sex call. That's me and him fucking. And then he said, well, he really didn't say it. He kind of screamed it. It was kind of strange. Out of the blue, I voted for Kamala. And then he said that he wanted to get fucked with a big daddy Trump dick. That's what he said. And he wanted me to repeat that over and over. He was absolutely enjoying it. And he was screaming that he had voted for her. And he just wanted me to keep fucking him with a big daddy Trump dick. He wanted me to say that. I'm fucking you with my big daddy Trump dick. That was really what the call was about. I found it strange and interesting. I don't know if it's that interesting, but it was different. That's for sure. So that was call number one after the election that had anything to do with anything political. He just kept screaming at Big Daddy Trump Dick, and that he voted for Kamala. And he enjoyed himself and got off like you would not believe. The second call, which was a few days later, didn't start out political at all. It was, how big are your tits? I see in the picture that they're really big. Well, clearly he wasn't looking at my picture, or he was just faking it. So I said, well, they're 34 double Ds. He goes, let's say that they're 38 double H's. Okay. So he would continue on asking me, and it really wasn't asking me. It was more like he wanted me to confirm, and prodding me. So what do you do for work? I'm a dental assistant. Okay. Well, tell me a funny time that your boobs hit your patients in the face. So I would have to make something up. And that went on for a few minutes. I would make up scenarios and he would just keep saying, good Lord, you're the goat. You're the best. And then he would say after a while, let's say 10 minutes of those types of questions, trying to get me to say things he would say. I see you got butt implants too. And I said, yeah. He says, what kind of panties do you wear? I said, thong. And he said, no, you wear full coverage granny panties. So then I would say, yeah, I wear full coverage granny panties. And he would say, oh Lord. And I would pick up on what he wanted. It was hard to figure out exactly where he was going with all of this. He would say something like, tell me a funny story where your boobs hit a kid in the face. Tell me a funny story where you would give me a hand job. Tell me a funny story where we were at a restaurant and you were giving me a hand job, or you were blowing me. And it was like, tell me a funny story. A lot of tell me a funny stories. So tell me a funny story about stuff. And every time I would say something, he would say, my Lord, good Lord. Tell me a story when you got married to the older man. Why did you marry the older man? And I had to come up with things. Then he said to me, the strangest place, you would give me a blumpkin. And I asked him what that was. I had never heard of that before. I didn't even take time to look it up. I usually look things up so I don't feel stupid. So he said, oh, it's where you give me a blowjob while I'm taking a shit. See, you learn something new every day. I had no idea. So I had to come up with a place where I would do that. Well, I did it in a restaurant. How did you get in the door? Well, I said, I'm not crawling on the floor. You have to open up the door and I would get in there. Or at the house. Did the kids see it? Are the kids watching? Is it funny? And it was so weird. It was really weird. So I had to come up with places where I would do things like that. And it was always tell me something funny. Like we were in a hot tub and the kids were around and you were giving me a hand job. I found this line of questioning strange, but he enjoyed it. So I would try to be as creative as possible. And he told me so. He told me I was being very creative. And I thought, boy, this is hard. It's a lot of work to try and come up with something that's acceptable. About 30 minutes go by and he said, I'll call you back in 20 minutes, okay? So just be here. I'll be back in 20 minutes. So he leaves and he hangs up and he asks me a question when he comes back. He comes back and says, you're the GOAT. You're the best. Oh, my God. And he goes, did you vote for Harris? I hemmed and I hawed because I don't know where he stands on this. Although he lives in Texas, I did not want to assume anything. And I'm like, oh God, the safest answer would be no, I did not. I could say that. And I thought, let me say yes. Let's just feel it out and see what would happen if I said yes. Sometimes I like playing with people. And so I said, yes, I did. He said, pretend you voted for Trump. I said, okay. And I kind of giggled. So now he gets into the political stuff and he says, where did we meet? So I need to be creative now. And I said, we met at a Trump rally. He says, what uniform were you wearing? I said, what do you mean by uniform? That was an odd way of asking me what I was wearing. And I said, I was wearing a MAGA hat. And he wanted to know what it said. And I said, Make America Great Again 2024. And I said I was wearing a t-shirt. And he said, what kind? I said a Trump t-shirt and jeans. And he's like, oh, Lord, oh, my God, oh, Lord. Oh, Lord and good Lord were very good comments coming from his mouth. At first, I was not sure, but yeah, it is. He then said something else to me, which I don't recall. I said that we fucked in an outhouse at a Trump rally. That goes on and on for a little while. He said, to be serious, you didn't vote for Trump. I said, no. I said, but everybody's entitled to vote for whomever they want to and to think and feel the way they want to. And he said, it's very late in the evening. Actually, it was morning. And he wanted to know some reasons why I voted for her. I said, well, why did you vote for Trump? He said he wanted to keep me in the kitchen. That's where I belonged, in the kitchen. I said, okay. And that Trump would do that. I said, okay, that's interesting. He kept telling me that he was going to call me all the time, that I was the best. I said, no, you say that to all the girls. And he goes, I've said it to a couple, but you're quick on your feet and you are the best. All I could say at that point was thank you and continue talking to him. I'm very uneasy talking about politics because everybody gets so uppity and judgmental. I would prefer to stay away from that subject, to be quite honest. But sometimes they pull you in and you just have to be as diplomatic as possible. After, I don't know, about an hour or so, he said he'd call me back again, and then we hung up, and somebody else called me while I was waiting for him to call me, and that call was a new caller. It was what I call regular. It was a nice little regular call, and it was short, and I got off the phone, and I just at that point had to hang up. It was 2:45 a.m., and I needed to go to bed. So we'll see if he calls me back or if he's upset that I didn't stay on. So who knows? The whole thing was exhausting. The conversation was exhausting. I always try to think ahead and I try to figure out what the person wants so that I can, get ahead of the conversation. But this time it was a little more challenging than I would have liked it to be. It was very difficult. Somebody asked me to try to have a phone sex kind of call on here so you could hear the back and forth of what a call is like. I'm not sure how to do that with just me currently doing this. I would have to get someone else to do it, and that could pose to be difficult because, my friends don't really want to have anything to do with my phone sex life. They don't mind hearing some of the stories, but they don't want to reenact anything. Until I find a willing participant, you'll have to listen to my account of a call. I know it's not optimal, but that's the best I can do for now. So hang tight. You never know what'll happen next year. Who knows? Remember I told you, I've talked about this guy a few times, I think, about the caller who always calls with the naughty professor. I'm supposed to be a little submissive because he didn't pass his test because I was distracting him. Well, he finally called with a new fantasy. Yay! It's been, I think, a year or I don't know, whatever it's been. I was his sister-in-law, and it was similar in that I'm supposed to be submissive, but at least it wasn't the teacher anymore. So that was kind of nice. It was a nice change, even though the phone call was the same. Some people just can't break away, and they just love what they love. I have hope. I have hope for him and everybody else. They're going to get tired of the same old fantasy over and over and over again, so I'm hoping for the best. So this is a shorty. That's all for now. Thank you for listening to Secrets from a Phone Sex Queen. Everything you always wanted to know about phone sex and more. Please reach out to me with your questions and comments at phonesexqueen1 @gmail.com. New episodes drop every Monday. Check me out on Facebook at CJ's Podcast, Instagram and TikTok at Phone Queen 1. If you're listening on YouTube, like I said at the beginning, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you get notified when a new podcast is dropped. I appreciate all of you guys. We are in November. I believe in December for a couple weeks I will probably take off. I will let you know. So until next time, stay sexy.